And we're back. Look at his leg, and we're back. And we're back here with the Shiva School Show. Promises made, promises kept. At the last second, like really, at 2 minutes ago, I was able to track down the Gemara about who was Daniel. I remember we were blibing yesterday. Was he Ezra? Was he Malachi? I knew he was someone in that door, but I wasn't sure who it was. And we blibed. And it's a good thing we blibed. It's a good thing we blibed. Why is it a good thing we blibed, Rav Yid? I found a Gemara in Baba Basra. Amar Rav, Dan Hatach Zed Daniel. Hatach, the Yid who Esther sent to Mordechai to tell him about the Gezerah, and Mordechai sent back, that was Dach Daniel.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, and there's two opinions why they call him Hatach. One is because Lichtoch is to cut. One opinion is he was cut from his greatness, from his Gedula, because he gave a good Eitzah to Nebuchadnezzar. You know, we got to give bad Eitzahs to the Shivud. You know, we don't want to help them oppress. And the other pshat, which I happen to like better, is called Tatach, because all things were nechtach on his peeve. Like he said something and it happened. Oh, Ziggy Ari Zalman. Last night, I didn't want to say Shevach, Ziggy Ari Zalman. Last night, in the middle of the night at like 12:30 here in LA, I was a little hungry and I wanted to make spaghetti and meatballs, but I never made a spaghetti and meatball. So who did I call? I called the chef. I called the YGS chef, the chef of the Super Chill, and he helped me, and I made the most delicious spaghetti and meatballs that DVJ ever tasted.
Unreal.
Shkayach. Are you going to get the Mikros Gedolos tribute? Oh, gewaldig. Yes, Schlegs.
That Daniel thing wouldn't necessarily stem, since we just learned that Gemara where his Gezerah was nullified by Rev Yehuda Nasi in his Beis Din.
Except that it wasn't Pashat in Am Yisrael. And so if it's not Pashat, says Tosfos, a smaller Beis Din can slug it up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So Daniel's Gezerah was slugged.
Well, yeah, at first it wasn't accepted in Am Yisrael, and then it was slugged.
So then the netach wouldn't necessarily be applying there. In that case,
the shita that says that he was cut from his gedula.
No,
yeah.
I'm saying the shita that says that his words were, you said nechtach.
Oh, like everything that he says was like cut.
Oh, like, was removed.
No. Like when he says something, it happens.
Right. So I'm saying
that's talking about what he told Nebuchadnezzar. Like he said something, Nebuchadnezzar was like, all right, swing the axe.
Ah, gotcha.
There's Lamaisa, there's a Tosfos brings a machlekes between the Targum, maybe Targum Yainasan, and the Gemara, if Haman actually killed Daniel for being a spy or transporting information from Esther to Mordechai.
Wow, that's crazy.
But according to that, so Haman knew that like Esther was Jewish. Like according to McGill, he didn't. So it's interesting stuff about Daniel. He was Chatach. We spoke about it yesterday. We had to go back into it. Found the Gemara about Basra, Dalet Amar Aleph. Feast your eyes, Yids. All right. I hope it all comes out okay, Rav Yid. But you're gonna miss the talk about the Shiksas. Okay.
I know. I gotta go.
It's all right. He's gotta go. He's gotta go. Nature calls. We'll try to catch you back. Fill you up. Fill you in.
I'll be posting this in a couple months, Bezrat Hashem. So
Amen.
I'll get the Chazara.
Amen, Rav Yid. Amen. Okay. So Zak the Heilige Gemara. Gufa. Okay, so we're returning to a previously mentioned, an aforementioned topic. Amar Bali, Amar Avimi Nosa, Mishmei Derav. So Bali says in the name of Avimi Nosa, in the name of Rav. Pitan, Vishimnan, Yenan, Uvenosehen. The idolater's bread and his oil, his wine and his daughters, Kulan Mishmona Asar Davarhen. They're all from the 18 things they are. Frek the Heilige Gemara. Frek the Mishmona Asar Davarhen. Frek the Heilige Gemara. Benaisan. Mai, but I say, Mai, what do you mean it's their daughters? They made a gezerah. What do you mean you made a gezerah on the daughters of Akum, on Shiksas? Mai, Amar Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, oh, Shlig's his favorite yid.
I'm still with you.
Oh, man, Shlig's his favorite yid. Says,
My ears
Gazru,
perked up.
so, because like, what's the question? What do you mean they made a gezerah on Shiksas? Because, so first of all, is there an Isra on Shiksas? Prima facie? DVJ, like that one. Is there an Isra on Shiksa? Is there an Isra on Shiksas in L'chaira? Because
Or not.
L'chaira not, says Alman. L'chaira not, because what? Oh, says DVJ. Because where would the pasuk be? What's the pasuk over here? Right? To have relations with an Israelite that's not married, the problem is nida. But we know that Goyim don't have nida. And so what would the Isser be? What would the Isser be? So it says, Gazru Abnoseh Nidos, Me'arisosan. So he says that the Gezerah, Derabanan, all Shiksas are Nida, Miderabanan, from the time that they're born, from their Arisa. Oh, Harry. Rabbi Harry coming in at the perfect time to learn what do you mean that Talmidei Beis Shammai, Talmidei Beis Hillel made a gezerah against Shiksas. So he said against the daughters of idolaters. So he says no. The gezerah is that the gezerah that they're nida from the time that they're in their baby carriage, right? Me'ari Sosayan. The Geneva Mishmei de Rav Amar, and Geneva, there's an Amira named Geneva. And Geneva says, Geneva Convention, maybe, no. Says, in the name of Rav Amar, Kula Mishum Avodas Kochavim Gazru Bahen. So all of these things, that you can't have their wine, and you can't have their oil, and you can't have their bread, and you can't have their daughters, it's because of Avodah Zarah. Now, we had learned that a lot of these things are because of intermarriage. But Geneva is saying, no, it's because of Avodah Zarah itself that they made the Gezerah. Kula Mishum Dechi Asa Rav Acha Bar Ada, because when Rav Acha Bar Ada came, Amar Rav Yitzchak, his name is yes, did the Yid say Zach? Did you hear his Alman?
Say again.
I said that all of these things, the bread and the oil and the wine and daughters, it's all the gezerah, the decree is so that we don't come to do Avodah Zarah maybe. The Chi Astar of Achabar Alba, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Gazru Pitan Mishum Shimnan. We made a gezerah on their bread because of their wine, because of their oil. My ume the shaman mi pas. why is oil a stronger reason to make forbidden than bread? Ella alpita mishimna mitrum yayin. Rather, that's not what he's saying. He's saying they made a gezerah on their bread and on the oil because of their wine, and we know that the wine they actually used for mamish avodah zarah. So we have one opinion that you can't have bread and you can't have oil because we don't want it to lead to intermarriage. We have one opinion that you can't have bread and you can't have oil because we don't want to like differentiate between bread and oil and wine, which they actually use for idolatry. The alyenon mishum wow. The alyenon, no, not what I just said. Says the Gemara Vayter, the alyenon mishum b'noisehem. And the reason we don't let you drink the wine, we made that gezerah on the wine, was so that you don't come to intermarry with their daughters. Because sometimes you have a glass of wine with the shiksas, and the next thing you know, yada yada. Chas v'shalom. V'albinosehem mishum davar acher. And the reason that they made a gezerah not to marry their daughters is because of the other thing. Harry, what is davar acher? Harry, you know what davar acher is? And he's gone. Davar acher is avodah zarah. They call it davar acher. Very interesting. V'al davar acher mishum davar acher. And they made a gezerah on davar acher because of davar acher. They made a gezerah on avodah zarah because of avodah zarah. What exactly does that mean? We have to see the Kashi. Says the Gemara, but no, saying de'oraisi. No, shiksa is actually an isra de'oraisi. It's not just a gezerah. Tichsev, because it says lo tischatein bam. It says do not marry them. What? Lo tischatein bam bitach lo yidin livno. You say, what are you talking about? There's a pasuk that says lo tischatein bam. It's straight up. Says the Gemara, no. De'oraisa is zayin umos. Aval shar of de'gochavim lo. No. If they're one of the 7 nations that we were decreed that were in Eretz Yisrael that we were to destroy, so then it's de'oraisa not to marry those shiksas. What, you think all shiksas are created equally, Zalman?
Are we talking about marriage here?
Yeah, that's also interesting. Like, we're talking about marriage. Like, is marriage even a concept de'oraisa, or is that just talking about bia? DVJ asked the question.
Also, when you go to war, aren't you allowed to marry?
Yeah, Batar. Another good point. Batar seem to be like an exception, though, to the rule.
Does it have to be a shiksa?
Yeah, what are we fighting, Jews?
Right. So I'm saying l'chayra that it's not, how big of an issue can it be?
So the Gemara here seems to say that it's de'oraisa, but there's a different opinion that says that it's derabbanan, it's a gezerah, that we don't marry them so that we don't come to do their idolatry, which actually happened when Bilam told all of the Benos Moab to come and get and seduce Am Yisrael so they can get them to do Baal Peor, and then the Zimri and Cosby,
Yeah.
So the Azu Inu and Shammai and Hillel came, and they made a gezerah, even on the other avodas that they should be usher. So it seems to be that it's only derabanan to sleep with a non-Jew, unless she's from the original 7 nations that were inhabiting Eretz Yisrael. Ula Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, but according to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, that the Amar that he says, Ki yazer es b'necha me'acharei, The rabbos call him Mesiros. That is a pasuk in Devarim. It's right after, don't get married to them and don't give your son to marry, right? Your daughter shouldn't give to his son, and your son shouldn't take, and your son shouldn't take his daughter. And it says, Ki yazir as bincha me'acharei, when your son strays, God forbid, and worships idolatry, God Elohim acharim, God forbid, and God gets mad if that happens, and He will destroy you quickly. So Rishon Baruch Hu says, "Ki yazir es bincha me'acharei the rabbos as a mesiros ma'ikal meimar." So what does it mean, the rabbos as a mesiros? A moser is someone who gives over, like, to the government, to the idolatry. You know,
A rat.
a rat. Exactly. Someone who taps on a police's shoulder and says, "See that guy over there? He's not wearing a mask. Go apprehend him." Those Yamach Shemam Nikiot, you know? Don't know. All right. There was a little bug and I just accidentally smashed it, but Baruch Hashem I missed. We definitely don't want to be killing bugs.
No.
We want to be saving bugs. Rabbi Harry can tell the story of when we saved the spider and it grew into a nice big spider and had many kids.
Confirmation.
What do we call him? Terrence McChilla?
Something to do with tarantulas.
Yeah, Terrence Chilla. Terrence Chilla. Yeah, me and Harry found the tarantula in his machsan, and we did not kill the yid. We brought him outside, and he had a whole spiritual awakening, and he morphed into another spider. It was Moradek. And he's probably still there today with his little spider children, feeding them flies. So Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says, Ki yazir as bincha me'acharei, the rabbos as the mesiros, to include who gives over ma'ikal me'emar. What can he say? Ela deoraisa ishus derech chasanos. So deoraisa, DVJ, this is exactly what you were talking about. Deoraisa, we couldn't have ishus derech chasanos, so you couldn't marry her. Which is interesting because when we're talking about marriage, is that deoraisa? But it uses the word that you can't marry, and the Gemara interprets it. You can't marry derech ishus, right? Ishus derech chasanos. Vazu inu gazur afilu derech nos. So deoraisa, you can't marry them. Comes Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, Talmidim, and say no. Even derech nos, even a one-night stand, right, with a shiksa is an isser, but it's an isser derabanan. Znus nami.
I was going to say, what's nafkamina?
Nafkamina is whether or not you can get married to a shiksa or just sleep with her.
I was going to say shiksas are for practice.
So we're going into that statement. You know, it's a bevasta thing in the yeshivish world that they say shiksas are for practice. And the l'chayra, the pshad and shiksas are for practice because it's not an isser deoraisa because there's no nida. But still, you know, it could be a very krum thing because it's still an isser derabanan, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so you know,
it's not glad either way.
What?
Not glad either way.
L'chayra not glad. L'chayra, it's not glad. So, but the Gemara says, wait a second, you're telling me that it wasn't until Shammai and Hillel that Znus was Azur with the Shiksa? Znus Nami Bezdino Shel Shem Gazru. Not only was it Shammai and Hillel, it was the Beis Din of Shem Ve'ever. Gazru made a Gzer Dichsev because it says, Ve'omer Yehuda Hotzi Uha B'tisaref. Yehuda says, bring her out, right? By who was this? By not Yocheved, no. By Tamar, right? It says bring her out, right? And right, she got knocked up. Yehuda thought it wasn't from one of his children. It must have been from an akum. If it's an akum, let's burn her.
But before that, he's the one that wasn't he had relations with her. He thought she was a shiksa, no?
He thought she was a prostitute. Yeah, Yehuda did it. Yehuda was, yeah, that's what Yehuda says at the end. He's like, listen, like, she's right. It's from me. Yeah, it was his kid, but yes, a little bit.
Right.
But the Mila of Yehuda is that he was able to say, listen, I messed up. He had big enough shoulders to say, listen, I made a mistake over here.
But the fact that he did it in the first place, isn't that a raya for that you can be with the shiksa?
No, he did. He
Was considered-
messed up.
Mm.
And not only did he mess up, then he wanted to kill Tamar because she messed up, which is very hypocritical. And it took a lot of kahunas for Yehuda to admit, listen, I really have egg on my face now, you know?
Yeah.
So, Ella Deoraisa Oved Gochavim Abal Bas Yisrael Demashcha Basrei. So no, I'm saying like this. Deoraisa, an idolater that has relations with the Bas Yisrael because she's following him. It's usher for a Jewish woman to sleep with a non-Jewish man. Deoraisa. But wait, we don't learn halachas from the story of like Yehuda and Tamar. If there's not, it doesn't go back and give a right. And Onshinel, it came Mazhirin. We don't just learn an Issa Deraisa. If we did, then masturbation would be usher because of Yehuda's son. You know, and Issa Deraisa. So we got to see. The Yid comes in with the Mikrayas Gedailas, a mid-sheer mish, and the Yid didn't stop paying attention for 1 second. Shkach Gadol DVJ. So, the Araisa is for a Jewish woman to have znus with a Shteigin. Oosh. Perfect timing. We're just learning. So right now, the Gemara Shita is that it's under for a Jewish man to have relations for a Jewish woman to have relations with a Shteigin, right? Yisrael about low, but for a Jewish man to have relations with an idolatrous woman is not necessarily V'azu inu, when it comes to Talmid Shai Beis Hillel, Gazer Abili Yisrael, even for a man to have with the Shiksa. Says the Gemara, Yisrael Abal Avodas Kochavim Halach L'Moshe Sinai. Wait a second, no, it's not. It's not just from the Gezerah of Shtamai and Hillel. Yisrael Abal Avodas Kochavim is Halach L'Moshe Sinai. The Amar Mar, because Mar says. Habala Ramis Kanayim Paigim Bai. Right? The master says that if you are Baal Aramis, so anyone could just come and slug him up and kill him. Kanayim Paigim Bo. Amarle, they say they say the Araiza is Biparhezia and like the Maisa Shahaya with Zimri and Cosby. It's the Araiza. The Azu Inu, and comes Shammai and Hillel's Talmidim. Because Afilu B'tzina. So it was even in private, to do with the Shiksa is Aser, only Derabanan. Says the Gemara, B'tzina Nami Bezdin Shachashmonoi Gazru. The Bezdin of the Chashmonaim came and made a Gezerah. How do we know? The Chi Asa Rav Dimi, because Rav Dimi came back from Eretz Yisrael. Amar Bezdin Shachashmonai Gazru. Yisrael Haba al Ovadas Kochavim Chayev Mishum Nagsha. He's Chayev because of Nagsha. Nagsha. We have to see what Rashi says. What is this Nagsha? Ki Azar Ravin, when Ravin came back from Eretz Israel, Amar Mishum Nashgaz. No, he says not Nagsha, it's Nashgaz. Ki Gazur Bezdin Shel Chashmonai. So Bezdin Chashmonai made these weird acronym gezeres. We just see what Rashi says. They asked for bia, actual sex. Aval yichud lo. They didn't say that it was usher to do yichud with a shiksa, and then comes Bisham and Bezillah and made a gezerah even on the yichud. Yichud nami, even yichud Bezdino shel David gazru. The Bezdin of David Amelch made a gezerah. The Amar Rav Yehuda, because Rav Yehuda comes and says, "Ba'ozo shah gazru yichud." At that time, you can see what time it is. They made a gezerah on yichud on being separated with them. Amri, they said, Amri Hazim, they said over there, Yichud Baz Israel. They said, no, he made a gezerah on Yichud Baz Israel. Aval Yichud with a shiksa low. Vazu, and when it comes, tell me they may say, Gazru, Afilu Yichud Davar, even Yichud with an idolatrous shiksa. Yichud Baz Israel, they're crazy. He says, come on, wait a second. What are you telling me that they made it that David and his basin made Yichud with an idolatrous with the Bas Yisrael other? The yichud is there, right? The Amar B'Yachlan Mishum Ben Yod Tzadok. Rem is the yichud min Arbina. Where do we know yichud min Torah? It says Shnemar Ki Asitecha Achecha Ben Amitecha. When your brother, the son of your mom, comes and tries to persuade you to probably do avodah zarah, B'chi Ben Imezes Ben Av Eno Mezes. Wait, so he can try to sway his brother, but not his father. Ella, rather, what's that saying? What that's teaching us, the reason that it uses that it says the son, when his brother, the son of his mom, is to teach us a halakha, to teach us that ben misyachedim imai, a son can be alone in a room with his mom. Ve'ein acher misyached in kol harayos shebetorah. So a son can be alone with his mom, and no other yichuds are allowed with all of the arayos in the Torah, not a brother and a sister, not a father and a daughter, only a son and a mom. Interesting. So the Gemara says, no, yichud is the arayza of Eshes Ish. Yichud is only the arayza when talking about Eshes Ish. But to David, and comes David, because yichud de penuya, even with a non-married woman, you can't do yichud with her. Comes Talmidei Beis Hillel, because they're afilu yichud of idolaters. Comes even with the yichud of idolaters. Okay, so bottom line. Let's see the Gemara again with Rashi. I think I know the bottom line, but I want to do a little chazara. Because Shligs, why do we learn Gemara?
So we could do Chazara.
Oh, what an epic return this year. We don't know the bottom line. First of all, there is no not loving the bottom line. We love MS. We love what state? We love what state. We have no horse. We have no horse in the race, whether it's their Reisa or their Abanan. We love MS. We love shot. We love what state in Gemara. You know, we have no horse in the race. All we wanted to get to is the MS. Right?
And Talmud Torah is the MS?
And Talmud Torah is the MS, says Ush. It's a good Nakuda. Talmud Torah is the MS. Okay, so now we're gonna see what the bottom line is. I'm not a hundo P. If it's Derez or Derabanan, let's see. We go back to the Gufa. So they say they made a gezerah on the bread and on the oil and on the wine and on the benosean. So they say, well, what does it mean that they made a gezerah on their daughters? Amar of Nachum Bar Yitzchak, Shlig's favorite Amara. They made the gezerah on their daughters that they're neither from birth. Zag Rashi Ma'arisasan from their cradle. Mikatnuzan Shein Shokvos Ba'arisa Shekorin Brits. When they're that's old French, they would call it cradle Brits. Too bad we don't have Shimon in Shir, who knows all of the old French.
And Thanks to
We gotta
you.
reach out to you. Anyway, so that the Gezerah, so at this point it seems like it's only Derabanan. They made their daughters are nidos. But Geneva says no, it's all because of what is Kokavim. Because when Rav Acha bar Adda says name of Yochanan, they made a gezerah on the bread because of the wine. Wait a second, what's better than bread or wine? No. They made a gezerah on bread and wine because of yayin. Shayayin boer bo umevil lidei b'nosem. Because when the kid drinks a lot of wine, it brings him to shiksas, especially the drinking together with shiksas, as we previously established. Okay, so I mean, yeah, b'hurachum yes aleinu, but we should like lo aleinu that we should have wine with the shiksa and then smash. But that's the maisa, that's the way that things go in this island alma de shikrovi. So we say, and the beno sayan is usher because of davar acher. The reason that you get that they made a gezerah on the daughters is because you shouldn't go to avodas elilim, says Rashi. The el davar acher shalo husker kan, right? Right. The Gemara says, and they made a gezerah on davar acher on idolatry because of davar acher. We're like, what? The el davar acher shalo husker kan because mishum davar acher below mishum avodas elilim ulakam mafarishla. Rashi doesn't even understand this part of the Gemara. It's so hard. And they made a gezerah on davar acher on another thing because of another thing. What? They made a gezerah on idolatry because of another thing. And Rashi's like, all right, they will explain later. Rashi says, another thing, maybe idolatry, that's not mentioned here. They made a gezerah because of another thing, maybe idolatry, and not because of idolatry. So it's got to be a different thing. And later they will explain what they're even talking about. I hope they do. I hope they do explain davar acher, because right now I'm like Shteigin, huh? Shteigin, huh? Shteigin, huh? Who? 12 minutes. 12 minutes, perfect. So the Maisa, the Gemara, tomorrow we're going to start my davar acher, mishum davar acher. What in the world is that talking about? It's tomorrow, Dika Gemara. Givaldi. Okay. So the Gemara is like, but wait a second. Before we even talk about davar acher, before we even talk about that, but no saying deoraisa. What are you talking about? Shiksas are deoraisa, says the Gemara. What's the raya? Because it says don't marry them. So the Gemara says no, that's only talking about the 7 nations, but the rest of them, that's not in the deoraisa. And then Shammai came and slugged that up. But okay, fine. So that works according to the Rabbanan, but according to Shem Bar Yochai, that says Kiyazir as bincha me'acharai, that when your kid goes and when a son starts worshiping idolatry, and it's to include all of the Mesirais, Michael Maimer. What does that mean? Includes all of the Mesirais? Okay, so unfortunately, we don't have time to check the Gemara Kedushin and Samach Ches Samach Beis, and we can't see the Likutei Rashi because they're not in these small Gemaras. Our last though is maybe Rabbeinu Chananel says something. Giyazir has been Chamecharei, Marbinan Kol Mesiros. Vafilu Shar Umos Minatayra. Oh, Rabbeinu Chananel slings. Rabbeinu Chananel. He says that not only that, but you can't even intermarry with someone who is a macer, someone who gives you over to the police. You know, we know the people out of Am Yisrael. See you later. I'm not even marrying your daughter. Can't even marry your daughter. And of course, all the other nations, Deoraisa.
Wow.
Someone who sent you to the police, a macer, a moser, a filu shar umos, minatira. It's the Deoraisa. We don't mess around with the Shibud. That's Haley Rabbeinu Chananel gave us a shot in that. So it's Larabos, it's called Basiros. So right, so not only that, but you can't even marry, says Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, anyone who works with the shibud and gives you over to them, calls the police or whatever. Ma'ikul Meimar. What can you say? So that would be deraisa to marry any shiksa. It would be deraisa to even marry the daughter of someone who calls the police on you. Ella deraisa ishos derechasanos. So yeah, deraisa, you just can't marry their daughters. But and Beisham look, and they made a gezerah that you can't do it with znus, even sex on like a one night stand or whatever. Znus, but wait a second, Beis Din of Shame made a gezerah because we saw that Yehuda was going to kill him. So the Gemara wanted to say, okay, fine. So a shiksa, a woman can't marry a shegitz, can't sleep with a shegitz deraisa. But for a yid, a male to marry a shiksa, only derabanan. They say, so wait, they say, well, wait a second. Isn't that also halach l'mosh b'sira? Because in a bo aram is kanayim pogim bo. What is kanayim? B'nei adam hamikanim kino social magom minkom nikmaso. They can come and they can kill him, as we saw with Pinchas. Pogim bo. B'shas be'ilu zakrashi. At the time that they're having sex, the vish eno mises based because there's no mises based in. So what? He's like laughing at the Abishter, and so while they're having sex, you can shoot your spear through them. Umay Shashaya with Zibri and Cosby, right? The azu enu gazer afilu b'tzina, right? So that the Bola Ramis is only if it's in public. Then it comes B'Shem Beis and they make there even in private. In private, that's the Beis Din of Chashmonai made that gezerah. Because when Rav Dimi came, he says that they made a gezerah on Nashka. And when Rabin said the Chashmonai made a gezerah on Nashgaz. So what's Nashgaz? It says, Gazer Lehem Mishum Nida. They made a gezerah on their Nida, Derabanan. Vavav Gav, Davodas Kochavim, Ein Dama Mitamea Minatayra. Even though a shiksa, when she menstruates, it's not Tamei Daraisa. Sharehi Kivehema. Because she's like an animal, says Rashi. Zukt Rashi, because she's a kaveh, Chachamim Gazru Aleh. The Chacham made a gezerah, Umishum Shefcha, and they made a gezerah on about being a Shefcha. Mishum Avodas Kochavim. You can't sleep with the Shefcha because of Avodas Kochavim. Ki'ilum Mischaten Ba Derech Ishas. It's as if you're marrying her. Umishum Eishes Ish de Beulas Baal. The Beulas Baal Yesh Lahen Livnei Nayach, because they have a Beulas Baal, right? They have an idea of like kind of married in the Shiksa, in the non-Jewish world. The Israel Haragil Bekach, an Israelite that is very rugged, he has sex with a lot of Shiksas. Hoil the Baal Benidasa. Since he's like, oh yeah, whatever. I just boinked this shiksa when she was in Nida, and this shifcha when she was in Nida. What's the problem over here? It was whatever. I'm not gonna say that it felt better because I wouldn't know. But l'chayra with svara, you can say disgusting things that like I'm just not gonna say right now. Why? My chayzer b'tshuva chas v'shalom. I just don't want to say it. And not chas v'shalom that I'm chayzer b'tshuva, but you know. The Israel Haragabakach, and an Israelite that has sex with a lot of shiksas and loves having sex with her while she's in Nida, and there's no problem and whatever. So if Azi Levail Nami Nida Yisraelis, so sleep with an Israelite woman who's in Nida. Bazi leminsav, and they'll come to marry a shivcha. Or he'll come to marry the shivcha because he likes having sex on either so much. Va'avar mishum lo yeh kadesh, and he's over on the Isser of you shouldn't have a whore like living with you. Va'azi leminasva lavodas kochavim, and he might come to marry an idolater. The other, it'll be over. Ella titchatein, over alo titchatein. It'll be over on don't marry them. Va'azi lemivail ish Yisrael, and he'll come to marry an ish Yisrael, meaning like once you get down, once you start having sex with a shivcha, or with the shiksa, it's all downhill from there. Mishum nashgaz, and so nida, shivcha, and avodas kochavim, and zona. Oh, that's the order. You start with a nida, then you move on to a shivcha, then you get to an avodas kochavim, then you get to a zona. She'im kan hu yesh kan mishum lav de zona. The low lav mamish, not really a lav, says Rashi. Really gezerah mishum zona Yisraelis. It's a gezerah, right? It's not really an issue deraisa to have a non-Jewish woman who you smash all the time. It's not an issue deraisa, says Rashi, but it's a gezerah that maybe you have a Jewish woman work like that you smash all the time, and that shenivala la'asrla. And right, and maybe you'll be like, oh yeah, like I'll just sleep with this zona Yisraelis, and that's an issue deraisa. So he says, no, really, Beis Chashmonai, when they're making the gezerah on not having sex with a non-Jew, they were talking about Bia, and comes Shammai and Hillel, and they make gezerah on Yichud. So we say Yichud, wait a second, based on if David Amelch was gezer on Yichud. Because, but also Shah at that time, right? At that time, we don't know what is at that time they made a gezerah on Yichud. What is at that time, you ask? But also Shah, 2 minutes. Okay, so at that time, based in of David makes a gezerah on Yichud of Abbas Yisrael. Yeah, but not a Yichud on Avodas Kochavim. They Azu Eru Gazur Afilon Yichud on Avodas Kochavim. Yichud Abbas Yisrael is deraisa, right? Because where's the gezerah? Where's the remez? Because deraisa, because it says when your brother, the son of your mother, why did he say your mother? Son and mom is the only yichud that's allowed, but no other yichud is allowed in the Torah. So the yichud deraisa, didn't make gezerah, and then Talmidei Beit Shammai made a gezerah and yichud. But also Shah, Ma'isa Amnon v'Tamar. So Rashi tells us the Ma'isa of Amnon and Tamar is also Shah. That's not they make gezerah and yichud. Rabbi Yehuda b'Sanhedrin, right there, Rabbi Yehuda says that. And so I feel yichud. So it says, okay, fine. So then no, deoraisa yichud with arayis, but not with ish, but not yichud of a penuya, and come Shammai and Hillel and make a gezerah even on yichud of a penuya. Kum tois, I think that shiksa is not an issue deoraisa. To just sleep with her once. And kumtois yichud with a girl is not with a non-married girl is not an issur d'oraisa, but yichud with an arayis as not your mom is d'oraisa. So that means your daughter, your sister. That isn't a d'oraisa dika yichud, which is like for our ears, it's like really wild and like different, but that's the halacha. And the bottom line is that the Eibusher should give us siyat d'shmaya to all get married and have beautiful relations with our wives, b'tara, b'kedusha, is a very big Indian, and we should be zeichet to have siyat dishmaya. There's a lot of temptation out here in the Welt, and the Eibusher should give us siyat dishmaya to do what we really want to do, which is to have kedusha, and to have ehrlichkeit, and to have and raise banim and banais talmidim